Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the OSWTV podcast, aka Trash Talk Wrestling. This is your edition for the second half of October 2017. Of course, my name is Stevie McMark-Smith and I am here to talk nothing but wrestling. That is Scottish wrestling and maybe a little else, but mainly Scottish wrestling. In this week's podcast we are going to talk about 5-Star Wrestling's return to Scotland. We're going to have a look at the latest OSWTV wrestler spotlights, which will lead us right into talking about the Scott Renwick fundraiser. We will also be talking about the build-up for ICW's Fear and Loathing. Is this Scotland's WrestleMania? It is kind of looking that way. And lastly, we will look at the OSWTV monthly polls. But before all that, we are going to get into this week's results. So for this, we have a ton of results. If you want to get the full listings for all results, just check out the OSWTV page. The website will be wherever you're listening to this podcast. There are a lot of results, so let's get to them. First of all, we're going to start with WrestleZone Live in Balmedy. So at WrestleZone this week, Sterling Oil, that was the team of Crusher Crabe and Sean Johnson, defeated the team of Damien and Johnny Lyons by pinfall. The WrestleZone Tag Team Championship was on the line. Sterling Oil, that is William Sterling and Alan Sterling, defeated Zack Dynamite and Bradley Evans by pinfall. And on that show there was a title match for the WrestleZone Tri-Counties Championship where Aspen Faith retained his belt against Chris Archer via pinfall. Next up, Target Wrestling Live in Lockerbie. Monty Burns, awesome name, defeated Medallion by pinfall. During the match, Medallion emptied a bag of thumbtacks, but Carnage came out to save Monty, who then scored a roll-up pinfall for the win. Sounds interesting, especially with Monty Burns, I love that name. There was a triple threat match for the Target Wrestling Heavyweight Championship where Carnage defeated Damon Havoc and Shady Matras via pinfall. There's some awesome names in this promotion, that is a given. Following the match, Medallion attacked Carnage from behind and put him through a pile of thumbtacks. Yes! I wish I could have seen that. Obviously I just read about it. I got all my results from the OSWTV page, which I suggest you all go and look at it, bookmark it, whatever you do these days. I don't know, who knows? I would do that. Next up, Reckless Intent Edinburgh. There was a hardcore match where Chris Renfrew defeated Impact Wrestling's Bram via pinfall. The Reckless Intent UK Championship was on the line where Delzin Dyer defeated Grado via pinfall to retain the Reckless Intent UK Championship. And Reckless Intent's Heavyweight Championship was on the line where James Scott defeated DCT by pinfall to retain. Next up, SWA Battlezone. Now on this show there was a blindfold match with Grado versus Shah Samuels, which sounds awesome. That just sounds great from the get-go. Both guys are really funny and they're decent wrestlers as well, obviously. Grado won that match. It was via pinfall. I don't know how he did it. He won it via pinfall though. As I said, if I'm going to look for this match, I hope it's online somewhere because that sounds interesting. There was a match for the Scottish Junior Heavyweight Championship No. 1 contendership where Kieran Kelly defeated Davey Blaze via pinfall. The Scottish Heavyweight Championship was on the line. Joe Coffey defeated Tim Wiley via pinfall to retain. And on that show there was a match called the Battle Zone, which basically was an over-the-top battle royal where Tim Wiley won the Battle Zone. I love the name, Battle Zone, it's great. I could say that a million times. Battle Zone. Next up, Glasgow Pro Wrestling Asylum. There was no title matches on this show, so it was just straight up matches. The Govan team, that is Ravy Davey and his cousin Xander, defeated The Purge, that is Crowbar and Stevie James via pinfall. Leighton Buzzard defeated Lionheart via pinfall, and Wolfgang defeated Jack Jester by pinfall. Now, that last match sounds good. Wolfgang and Jack Jester, both wrestlers I'm big fans of. Sounds like it would have been a great match. Next up, Fierce Females, that is a female only promotion. So there's no male matches here, it's all girls, they're all awesome wrestlers. The Fierce Female Internet Championship was on the line. Danny Hunter defeated Charlie Evans to retain. Future Shock Women's Championship was on the line. Lana Austin defeated Isla. I hate that name. Is it Isla? Isla? I don't know. But anyway, Lana Austin defeated Isla. Lana Austin defeated Isla Dawn. I can't say that name. Via pinfall to retain. And the Fierce Females Championship was on the line. Viper defeated Bea Priestley via pinfall to retain. That match sounds like it would have been really good. Both women are really, really good. Next up, Rockin' Wrestling. Carnage in Cole. I can't say the name of that place. I've never even heard of it before now. Davey Blaze with Kid Fight defeated Ace Anderson. Arn Anderson there. He defeated Ace Anderson via pinfall. EJ Rage and the Upstarts defeated Pure Gangsta and Krieger via pinfall. Krieger, I'm not sure how that one's pronounced, but hey, that's an alright name. And on that show, the RNW, that's Rock and Wrestle Heavyweight Championship, was on the line, and a no disqualifications Fall Count Anywhere match. Jack Jester defeated Impact Wrestling's Bram via pinfall to retain that Rock and Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. Now that I bet that was mental. Jack Jester in a hardcore match. Take my money. Next up, United Pro Wrestling, that's UPW in Bucky. Now this was a charity show for the Teddy Bear Support Group. On that show, Felix Fortune defeated Livewire. The Opera of Silence, that is UNG Maki and Stallion. It sounds like a very interesting team. One I would quite like to see. Defeated Alex Webb and Kenny Kidd via pinfall. And Michael Chase defeated Luke Aldridge via pinfall. I need to get my breath now. There is a lot of results to go through here. Next up, ICW's 11. In a match for the ICW 0G Championship, BT Gunn defeated Kid Fight by submission to retain. Bram defeated the Phoenix Jody Fleisch. Now man, that's another name that I've not heard in ages. That is Jody Fleisch, obviously. He is awesome. He's one of the pioneers of the British scene, I would say, well, the modern British scene. I really hope he ends up at Fear and Loathing. But anyway, let's continue. There was a death match where Chris Renfrew defeated Mikey Whiplash, and I've seen this, it is awesome. Following the match, the Filthy Generation attacked Chris Renfrew. So the Filthy Generation, of course, that's Stevie Xavier, Aspen Faith, Lewis Gervin and Kaylee Ray. They all run in and started beating the crap out of everyone. This is on YouTube, you can see the whole thing, or you can obviously subscribe to the ICW service. The ICW Women's Championship was on the line in a triple threat match where Kaylee Ray defeated Casey and Viper. And lastly on that show, the ICW World Heavyweight Championship was on the line. The Iron Man Joe Coffey defeated Moose via pinfall. All in all, the ICW show was really good. Obviously, you can go and watch that. You can watch Fight Club and see where most of the shows are. And lastly, for this week's results, we have PBW live in Airdrie. Stevie Xavier defeated Davey Blaze. That brings me back seeing them two together. I wish the Bucky Boys were still on the go, but anyway. Grado and Wolfgang defeated the Unstoppable Andy Wild and Jack Jester. An interesting team. There was a triple threat match where Lucha Diaz defeated Saklabali and Kenny Williams via pinfall. And there was a match for the PBW Heavyweight Championship where BT Gunn defeated TJ Rage by pinfall to retain. Deep breath. And that is your results for the second part of October. Of course, if you want to hear the results for pretty much all the Scottish wrestling shows I can find, subscribe to this podcast and you will get all the results. And if I've seen the matches, you will get an even more exciting version of the results. So if you can see the matches, if you know where matches are, tell me. Because I'm looking for matches all the time. And they're hard to find matches to watch, to review sometimes. And I really want to review some matches from the Scottish scene. Not just ICW, because ICW is really accessible, but I'd like to see matches from the other ones. I want to see the more obscure stuff. I'm looking for it. If you find it, if you know what it is, tell me. Send an email at podcasts@worldoftrash.co.uk and it will be featured on the show. So now that we are past the results and I have got my breath back, first of all, this week's podcast is going to be shorter than I would have expected or I would have liked. I've been having a bit of audio issues lately. I'm trying to get them fixed, so until I've got them fixed properly, I just want to keep this down to just what we need. So I'm going to leave some stuff off, but I'm going to leave some stuff on. The things that are getting left on, obviously, are what I mentioned in the introduction to this podcast. First of all, very quickly, well, not quickly, I don't know, this could turn into an epic rant. 5-Star Wrestling's return. So, on social media last week, as many other people in Scotland will have noticed, 5-Star Wrestling have piped back up. Now, for those who don't know who 5-Star Wrestling is, last year, this company, 5-Star Wrestling, the first time I seen them, they actually had a show on TV. It was on Channel 5, 5-Star Wrestling Live. It was live from Dundee Ice Arena of all places. That was on January the 28th. Now on this show they had a tournament that had a lot of stars on it. Rey Mysterio, Drew Galloway, Johnny Morrison, Joe Coffey, Carlito. There was all sorts of people on it. The show was, it wasn't the greatest show. It wasn't the best wrestling. There were some really good matches. Drew Galloway was on it. Now, Drew Galloway was over like Rover. He was the absolute top face on this show. People loved him. Now, this show was a tournament. It was a tournament-based thing, so you were in a tournament trying to win something. Johnny Morrison was in the tournament. Now, here's the weird thing. The tournament was for the 5-Star Wrestling Championship. Johnny Morrison is the 5-Star Wrestling Championship, yet Johnny Morrison was in the freaking tournament. Why was the champion in the tournament? That made no sense to me. Everything was cool until that point, and I was like, what the F is going on here? Why is Johnny Morrison the champion in the tournament to win his own freaking belt? It was the stupidest thing I've seen. It was one of the stupidest booking things I've seen in a long time. And even worse, right, now this was all set up to be perfect, right? If you're booking wrestling, you want to book the people watching and the people watching in the arena and the people watching at home. You want to give them a really good experience. Now, you give them a good experience by showing them emotions. If you're in the building, you make them feel the emotions. If you're at home, you've got to make them feel the emotions through what they're seeing and through the emotions of the people in the arena. Now, the people in this arena loved Drew. It is hard to quantify how over Drew was with these fans. They loved him. Kids, just everyone. He was getting the best reactions of the night. So, Drew is almost on homeland. He is on homeland. He's in Scotland. He's in a tournament in Scotland. This is just a one-night thing. The champion's in the tournament. Drew Galloway gets to the finals. So they're like, holy crap, this could be good. This is going to give the show a really cool finish. We're going to see Drew Galloway in Scotland winning this tournament and taking the 5-Star Wrestling champ off this douchebag Johnny Morrison for Scotland. But did we get that? No, we didn't get that. We got Johnny Morrison winning. I literally turned it off there and then. I was like, what? To me, it made no sense. I was like, why did they just do this? Why did they go to all this problem and all this setup when they had it there perfectly? They could have, everyone watching, everyone in the arena would have went home happy and probably forgot about the crap matches that were on the event. But no, rather than polishing that event up, so we left it with a good feeling in our heart and a nice warm fuzzy feeling, and a feeling like, yes, Drew's won, Scotland's the champion, we've won it something, we may not win at football, but god damn it, we can win at wrestling. No, we were the losers again. Scotland walked away from the event with the tail between the legs. We lost. I was pissed off. You may be able to tell it from my voice. I was pissed off about this. To me, it didn't make any sense. I was like, why? As you can hear, I'm just ranting now. I did say this may go long, but 5-Star Wrestling, I digress and let me get back on topic here. 5-Star Wrestling, now, they announced a huge tournament last year. Not only did they announce a huge tournament with a show in my hometown, Aberdeen, they announced a tournament with, I can't remember I think it was 120 or something wrestlers. It was freaking insane how much people they had on it, and they booked pretty much everyone in the Scottish scene and the British scene to be in this tournament. I know people that were booked on this tournament, more than one, and it was out of nowhere, the whole tournament got cancelled and everyone lost their bookings. If you went on social media at the time, all you would have seen was wrestlers who were totally pissed off with 5 Star Wrestling because they'd all cancelled dates and made arrangements for this date like a year in the future, only to be dicked about by 5 Star and have all their bookings took away from them just like that, for no reason at all, just through sheer mismanagement and a crap company, you know what I mean? I mean, give them their due. 5 Star Wrestling, they're trying to do big things, and if they can do the big things right, they might pull it off. But from the first impression everyone got last year, that is from the fans, the wrestlers, the people in the business, everyone was left with this stinky, shitty feeling that, man, this promotion's not really that good. The show that was seen was alright, the tournament was alright, the booking was meh, it could have been a lot better, and they pissed off like most of the workers in the scene due to how they just binned all the shows, and now they've rebooked all their new shows for 2018, 2019. I'm currently on their website just now, so their website is 5starwrestling.co.uk. What we've got there is we've got news that they have announced a multi-year TV deal with a read more button. Let's read it. I'm just going to read this verbatim. So, this is from the 5 Star Wrestling page. When we created the 5 Star Wrestling brand, we set ourselves some extremely ambitious targets. We wanted to work with the biggest and best stars around the world to put on huge events in front of the largest possible audiences, and above all else, we wanted to finally bring live wrestling to primetime UK television. It is with great pride that we announce a multi-year deal to broadcast all 5 Star Wrestling events live on British TV, 7 to 10 PM every Thursday night, starting from February the 1st, live from the Liverpool Echo Arena. And that's all it says. Like, it says it's going to be on a channel called Free Sports. So if it says Free Sports, there's a brand new channel here in the UK that can be found for free on Freeview, Sky, Freesat, BT, Talk TV, and very soon Virgin Media, making 5 Star Wrestling programming available in over 22 million homes across the country. Now, I've never heard of this channel. I'm going to go and look up in just a bit to see what the hell is going on with it. For those who aren't in on Thursday nights, every episode of 5 Star Wrestling will repeat multiple times per week on Free Sports, and we'll be making them available via various catch-up services, as well as right here on our Facebook page and over our YouTube channel. So this channel sounds like it's got pretty much nothing on it, because all it's going to be showing is 5 Star Wrestling, but it sounds it. Then it's like every episode will get repeat multiple times per week. That means it is a channel with not a lot of content, or they wouldn't need to show it multiple times a week. Tickets are available here. Let's click on the tickets. I think it's just the Liverpool event. No, it's not. They've actually got... So, their events are starting on the 1st of February, it seems. They've got Liverpool, Newcastle, Sheffield, Belfast, Aberdeen, Manchester, Leeds, Dundee, Blackburn, Cardiff, and more to be announced soon. So, all those happen between February and May. In closing, I find it interesting. I don't know who they're going to get wrestling on these shows, because, as I said before, they managed to really piss off a lot of the workers in the British scene from what they did before with booking them all and just cancelling all. They sound like a company with really big aspirations. I don't know, I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? It looks really good. They've got the names, they've got star power, they've got a lot of people who can work for them, and there must be someone. But is this going to happen? I mean, I've never heard of the channel. It could go the way, if it's a wrestling sort of channel, it could go the way of the wrestling channel, which was great while it lasted, but ended up just being crap. I guess it's one of those things we've got to wait and see. I will wait and see. I am not going to say this is going to happen until I see it. And that's just the way it is, I'm afraid. Once bitten, twice shy, so... I mean, the first event, the flyer's got Rob Van Dam on it. It says see Rob Van Dam. It doesn't say he's wrestling. And it says watch live on Free Sports, so I guess, yeah. I'm going to stop ranting here. I'm going to stop rambling here and talking about 5 Star. Go and check it out yourself, 5 Star Wrestling. Look up the history and see what you think on the situation. For me, I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to hold judgment here because things went south pretty fast last time, so they could go south again. But at least they're not announcing a stupidly big tournament this year. So now that I've got that 5-Star Wrestling news and rant out of my system, and that's been in my system for quite a long time, so it feels good to get it out. I do implore people though, wait and see with 5-Star Wrestling, because it could be good. We may all be pleasantly surprised. 5-Star might come up with the best show on, it's on prime time, but it's not on a channel that's going to really affect prime time views, but it may be a good show. We may all be pleasantly surprised, and we may have a British show that is awesome. But regardless, we're moving on to the wrestler spotlight. For this podcast, we are looking at Scott the Butcher Renwick. Now, Scott Renwick has been about the Scottish scene for years. I have met Scott a few times at shows, like backstage. He was always a really, really cool guy. A really, really cool guy. So let's have a look at the spotlight. Now, the spotlights are written by Adam Morrison. You can catch him on Twitter at AdamMorrison40. These are all posted on the oswtv.wordpress site, so I'm just getting that out of the way. If you want to read the full thing and read way more spotlights, because there's spotlights uploaded every week to the website, go to the OSWTV website and check them out. So, Scott Renwick, aka The Butcher, the companies he has wrestled for. Now, this is a big list, so let's see if I can get this all in one go with no mistakes. We have Original Pro Wrestling Organisation, Scottish Wrestling Alliance, 3 Count Wrestling, British Championship Wrestling, Insane Championship Wrestling, Premier British Wrestling, Wild Promotions, Source Wrestling, World Association of Wrestling, One Pro Wrestling, Worldwide Wrestling League, Showcase Pro Wrestling, Triple Team Promotions, All Star Wrestling, Triple X Wrestling, Scottish School of Wrestling, Amp Wrestling, WrestleZone, Pride Wrestling, Rad Pro Wrestling, Scottish Wrestling Entertainment, Target Wrestling, Reckless Intent Wrestling, and Alpha Omega Wrestling. I did it! Yes! Scott's titles and accomplishments include he is a 5-time SWA Tag Team Champion / Unified Scottish Tag Team Champion. He has held the NWA Scottish Heavyweight Championship, the 3CW Tag Team Championship, the W3L Tag Team Championship, the SSW Tag Team Championship, the SSW World Championship, the Reckless Intent Heavyweight Championship. He is the 2009 and 2011 SWA Battlezone winner. He is the 2014 Reckless Intent Battle of West Lothian winner. He is the 2015 SWE European Tournament winner. Now, that was a lot of championships. As I said, Scott has wrestled everywhere in the Scottish scene and pretty much everywhere else in the British scene. He has been all over the shop. He's a really good wrestler, and as I said, he's always been a really cool guy. Every time I met him, he was really down to earth and he was really cool. That was back when I was a trainee in my trainee days. So Scott's signature moves are the Angel Wings, the Rough Rider, that's sitting down and that is the sitting down and diving variations. The Renplex, the Three Amigos, that is a snap suplex, fisherman suplex into a bridging Northern Light suplexes, and that pretty much sums up everything Scott Renwick has done in the Scottish scene. He has done a hell of a lot, but sadly in recent times he has been diagnosed with kidney disease, and sadly Scott has had to retire from wrestling, and this has led to quite a few events popping up to raise money for Scott the Butcher, because he's done so much for the Scottish scene, and a lot of people, he's really touched a lot of people, and he's helped in the training of a lot of people, and a lot of people really want to give back, so there have been quite a lot of shows. The biggest one I know was the one that's actually being held today. It's called An Evening of Wrestling for Scott the Butcher Renwick. Sadly, I can't, by the time you listen to this, you've probably seen the show or been to the show, but the good thing is we can get the word out, so if there's any more shows, keep a lookout and go and support us, because this is a guy that really deserves people giving back to him, because he's given a lot to us via entertainment and wrestling and helping behind the scenes, training people wrestling in ways you wouldn't know. He's helped the scene. But I'll read the details from the event. This is from the event page on Facebook. Jam O'Malley and Michael Chase have announced that on October the 21st they're hosting a fundraising show for Scott the Butcher Renwick. In recent months, Scott has been diagnosed with kidney disease and is currently waiting on the list for a kidney transplant. He's no longer able to provide for his young family while he awaits This life-saving transplant, which hopefully comes a lot faster than you hear of it coming, so fingers crossed that Scott gets lucky here and he gets something soon. I've trailed off from there. This event is being held in Livingston. As I said, there's events being held all over the place for this guy, so if you have seen an event popping up, go and support it, because he's a guy that really deserves the support. And as I said, he's given a lot to the Scottish scene, and I think it's good for people to get together, both wrestlers that he's helped and fans that have been to his shows, including people that have been to Reckless Intent shows, because obviously if you've been to a Reckless Intent show, Scott has been helping entertain you, and he's been giving you something. So that was the roundup and a brief look at the event that's coming up for him and what's happening with Scott Renwick and why we should support him. So I really do think, go on YouTube, you'll find matches with Scott Renwick. They're out there, go and watch his matches. As I said, he's a really good wrestler, wrestled everywhere, really good guy, and he's come across hard times, so I think it's cool if people can support him. And that was our wrestler spotlight for the week. As I said, as I've said a few times, I've laboured the point, if you see an event, support it. And we are moving on to our next segment of the show, which is our upcoming events. But very quickly, before we get into the events, I wanted to have a quick look at the upcoming ICW Fear and Loathing X, which will be live from the SSE Hydro in Glasgow. So there's just 2 matches that have been added that piqued my interest, that I just felt I had to mention. First of all, we have the dirtiest match in wrestling history, the Kinky Party versus the Filthy Generation. But representing the Filthy Generation are the Kings of Catch, Aspen Faith and Lewis Girvin versus Jack Jester and Shaw Samuels. This should be great. I'm really happy to see Aspen Faith here, a boy from Aberdeen. I'm happy to see him on, and Lewis Girvin. They're 2 cracking wrestlers that deserve this sort of shot. To be able to see them at the Hydro is going to be something special, so I'm looking forward to that. Also added to the lineup, we have a steel cage match for the Women's Championship. Kaylee Ray will be putting her Women's Championship on the line against Casey and Viper in, as I said, a steel cage match. Now, this is ICW, so I expect that this match will be mental. I'm not sure if the show is sold out yet or not. I'd be surprised if it's not sold out, because all I've seen so far online are people trying to sell tickets for it, like private sales. So if you're wanting to go to this show and there's tickets available, snap them up quick smart, 'cause it looks like there's going to be a lot of people at this event. I cannot wait for this event. I do think this is going to be like Scotland's WrestleMania. It's like the lineup is on it. I mean, we've got people like Kevin Nash on it, Big Sexy's on it, Rey Mysterio is going to be there, Rob Van Dam's going to be there, the King of Catch is going to be there. What the hell? It's going to be great. So I just had to get that out of my system very quickly before we get into the upcoming events. And of course, when we get to the upcoming events, there are a lot of events coming up. I'm going to start at Saturday the 21st of October. Of course, by the time you listen to this on the 22nd October, these events will probably have happened, but hey, at least I tried. So first of all, as I mentioned earlier on, we have an evening of wrestling for Scott the Butcher Renwick. This event was in Livingston. ICW, now there are a few ICW shows here that are not in Scotland, but ICW is a Scottish company, so I'm going to mention them. I don't know if I should or not, but I'm going to, because it's my show and that's my rules, so screw it. ICW get mentioned. ICW's Road to Fear and Loathing X tour are live from Sheffield. That is tonight, so you've probably missed it. PBW are also live in Barlinnick. Where the hell's Barlinnick? It just says Glasgow. That is an area of Glasgow I have never heard of. Hopefully one day I will go to Barlinnick. I will maybe contact my Glasgow contacts and see what Barlinnick is like. If you want to tell me, you can obviously send an email to podcasts@worldoftrash.co.uk and inform me on Barlinnick, or Barlinnick, I don't even know how to say it. Tomorrow, Sunday the 22nd of October, ICW's Road to Fear and Loathing X tour stops at Bristol. They're going all over the shop. Thursday the 26th of October, we have PBW live in Somerton. On Friday the 27th of October, W3L 200, that is at Rothes Hall Kingdom Shopping Centre, Glen Rothes. Nice. I've not seen a shopping centre. I've not Man, that's a tongue twister. I have not seen a shopping centre show since, the WCW first match? No, actually, that's a lie. Because I've seen WrestleZone live at Union Square quite a few times. Saturday the 28th of October, Reckless Intent are live in Tuker. That's another one of those funny spelling names. The TW, Tuker, it's a part of Glasgow. SSW, Guts and Glory, that is in Bathgate. And on that night, the 28th of October, you've got SWE Uprising, Ring of Horror / Sold Out, which is at the Adler Complex, Dundee. And on that night, live from my hometown, King Corth, at King Corth Community Centre, Provincewalk Drive, Aberdeen, we have WrestleZone's Halloween Hijinks. They always put on a great Halloween show, so I doubt this will be any different. And it's in King Corth, which means it's going to be double scary. Get your butts to that show if you're in Aberdeen or anywhere near Aberdeen. On Sunday the 29th of October, we have GPWA £5 Wrestling, that is in the Asylum, Glasgow. Interesting name. I hope it's not like $5 wrestling. I imagine it's nothing like $5 wrestling, and you're actually going to get quite a decent show for your £5. On Wednesday the 1st of November and Friday the 3rd of November, the big guns are coming to town. WWE Live. We are not getting a live Raw or SmackDown this year by the looks of it. Rather, we are getting some crappy sold shows. First off, it is on the 1st of November, that is at the SSE Hydro, WWE Live, and on Friday the 3rd of November it is WWE Live at the Aberdeen Exhibition and Conference Centre. Now, I don't know what the lineups are for these WWE shows. They have advertised Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, the last time they came over, a lot of people thought Shinsuke Nakamura was on the shows because he was initially advertised then taken off the shows. This time, who knows what's happening on the shows? I mean, WWE, there's quite a lot of mad stuff happening in the WWE at the moment, and it seems that there's been some sort of viral outbreak within some of the workers. So, I mean, Roman Reigns, Bo Dallas, and Bray Wyatt are all out with this viral infection at the moment, so who knows what's happening with WWE, but thankfully it looked like it was the SmackDown side of the roster that was coming, and it's not the SmackDown side of the roster that's been affected by this. So the show should go on as advertised, but it's WWE, so you never know what they're going to do with the lineup. Saturday the 4th of November, ICW's Road to Fear and Loathing Tour hits Liverpool, that is at the O2 Academy Liverpool. On that same night, you have Reckless Intent Wrestling, The Reckless Rumble. That's at Knightsbridge Industrial Estate, Livingston. And on the 5th of November, my Uncle Clifford's birthday, we have Discovery Wrestling, Uncivil War. That is live in the Jam House, Edinburgh. And we lastly have ICW's Road to Fear and Loathing X Tour. It could not be further from Scotland if we tried. It is in Cardiff at the Tram Shed. That is your events for the next couple of weeks, all the way up until the 5th of November. Remember and say happy birthday to my Uncle Cliff or anyone else, or anyone else you know whose birthday is on the 5th of November, because why not? Or you can just celebrate Guy Fawkes, the OG terrorist, which is a bit, that's pretty poor taste. I don't care, it's my show, so I'm going to be as poor taste as I want. That has been the OSW TV podcast for this week. My name is Stevie McCrapface Smith. I'm just going to invent names from now on. Stevie McMark, Stevie McTrash. I don't know. Call me what you want. Stevie. Just Stevie. I'm your host. This has been Trash Talk Wrestling. I will see yous all in the next podcast, even though I can't see because you're listening to me. Ho 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 ho. Hold the boat, Stevie. Hold the boat. I nearly finished this show without going through the OSW monthly poll, which I said I was going to do at the start, and I was fixed on definitely doing this month, and this is something I'm going to remember to do every second show because it's a monthly poll, and I intend to do this every fortnight. This episode was a bit late due to me getting overloaded with uni work and crappy audio errors which do my head in, but thankfully they're nearly fixed and they won't be an issue in the future. But that's enough of my bitching. Let's get into our monthly polls. So these were all voted on by the viewers and readers of the OSW TV Facebook page and website. First of all, we will start with the show of the month. Now, it just so happens that the show, the match and the wrestler all come from the same show. And even though I have no part in the polls, it was a show I was at. It was all from WrestleZone's Battle of the Nation 2017. So the show of the month as you may have guessed, was WrestleZone's Battle of the Nations 2017. That event featured wrestlers like Joe Coffey, Aspen Faith, Scotty Swift, Crusher Crave and Tyler Bate. The match of the month was a match from that show. It was the match Tyler Bate was in. Now it was Damien versus Tyler Bate. Damien is a wrestler from Aberdeen. To me, personally, I think he's one of the most underrated wrestlers in the Scottish scene, without a shadow of a doubt. Back when I was a trainee, I got a lot of guidance from him. He taught me a lot of stuff about wrestling, how to do it. The guy is a bit of a genius when it comes to wrestling. And as I said, really underrated. But the match of the month was Damien versus Tyler Bate. I was sitting in the second row right next to the ring for that match. The building was on fire. The match was brilliant. It had all the technical stuff that you would get from Tyler Bate. Damien can go just as well as Tyler Bate. I mean, Damien's got like more than 10 years experience, and that's what I mean, he's underrated. So he was able to go in there and have a great match. The match ended with a great show of sportsmanship. They both shook hands, which was great because Damien's always been seen as a heel in the WrestleZone promotion. I don't think he's ever been a good guy in the WrestleZone promotion. And that leads us to our wrestler of the month, who is the guy I've just been talking about. It is Damien. And I mean, Damien has wrestled all over Scotland as well. I'm not sure if he's been on IC. I don't think he's been on ICW yet, but he's wrestled pretty much everywhere else. He's a great wrestler, really, really good, really underrated. As I've said that already, he is the wrestler of the month at the OSWTV. I would urge you all to go and look for some matches which Damien has been in. You'll probably be able to find matches from WrestleZone and SWE easier than anywhere else. If there's any matches I would say to really look for, it would be, if WrestleZone put the match with Tyler Bate online, watch it, it's brilliant. But if they don't, look for Damien's matches with people like Scotty Swift or Crusher Crave, and you will not be disappointed. A well-deserved wrestler of the month. And that now takes us to the true end of the show. This has been Trash Talk Wrestling. My name is Stevie, and you will all hear from me in a few weeks. See you later.